Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so thrilled you're joining us today because the psychological phenomenon we're diving into is just absolutely fascinating. I want you to imagine, just for a second, that your mind has completely gone rogue. Instead of processing the mundane, everyday reality of life, your brain decides to write a Hollywood blockbuster movie script, complete with this sprawling, epic narrative. And the best part? It has cast you as the undisputed, larger-than-life star. Today we're exploring a condition known as a delusion of grandeur. Based on the material we've gathered, we're going to look at exactly what happens when the brain rewrites the rules of reality and how we can better understand the folks who are living inside their very own epic storyline. Seriously, think about this. What if you woke up tomorrow, absolutely certain that you had a secret superpower? Imagine waking up with this unshakable conviction that you are literally the most important person on Earth. We aren't just talking about, having a really good hair day or a sudden surge of self-esteem. We're talking about a profound, undeniable certainty that you possess boundless wealth, a divine mission to save the world, or just supreme, unmatched importance. If you can put yourself into those shoes for just a moment, you are standing at the very threshold of a delusion of grandeur. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Anatomy of a Delusion. Let's break down the phenomenon. To really grasp this concept, we kind of need to put on our clinical hats for a second and break the term down into its basic parts. It's absolutely crucial to understand these building blocks. So let's start with the word delusion. A delusion is, quite simply, a deeply held belief that is completely false. But here is the kicker. The most critical part to remember: to the person actually holding that belief, it feels as real and permanent as gravity. It's not a passing thought. It's not a silly daydream. To them, it is concrete fact. Experiencing a delusion basically locks a person inside a separate, impenetrable reality bubble that absolutely no one else can see or touch. And this brilliantly illustrates the incredible, honestly almost stubborn power of the human mind. It goes like this. First, you have that deeply held false belief. Second, an outside observer comes along and presents absolute, undeniable proof that the belief is false. Now, you'd think logic wins here, right? Well, nope. Step 3 kicks in. The brain immediately invents a reason why the proof is fake. No amount of logic, no amount of evidence or reasoning will work. The brain simply performs a mental magic trick to dismiss any absolute proof, fiercely protecting the delusion at all costs. Now, let's add the second half of our equation: grandeur. Grandeur means magnificence, greatness, or supreme power. When you fuse these two clinical concepts together, a delusion of grandeur becomes a fixed, completely false belief that you are exceptionally famous, brilliant, wealthy, powerful, or even holy. It's a reality where you're basically operating on a completely different, elevated plane of existence compared to everyone else around you. Bringing back our motif from the very beginning, this is exactly what we mean by the blockbuster movie script. Think about these roles: the ultimate hero, the chosen savior, or the secret genius. The person isn't just imagining this, they are genuinely living out this hero script every single day. Every interaction they have, every random event they witness, it all gets filtered through the lens of this grand, epic narrative where they are the central, indispensable figure. Let's move to Section 2, Scripts of Grandeur, and see how this manifests in real life. So, how does this clinically fascinating phenomenon actually show up in the real world? It's one thing to define it, but seeing how it plays out every day is truly eye-opening. What's really wild is the sheer variety and vivid imagination of these mental movie scripts. We've got 4 common archetypes. There's the hidden billionaire, who thinks they secretly own mega corporations; the divine messenger, who believes they have a direct, exclusive line to a higher power to save humanity; the unrecognized genius, who's absolutely certain they've cured a major illness; and the secret celebrity, who might watch a totally normal TV commercial and believe it's a coded love letter from a famous pop star. The brain's capacity to construct these incredibly detailed realities is just astounding. Let's look a little closer at just one of these to see the actual mechanics in action: the hidden billionaire. Here we see a stark, honestly heartbreaking contrast between their internal reality of supreme power and their external reality. This person might literally be struggling just to buy groceries, but instead of realizing they're out of money, their brain immediately rationalizes it. They believe their lack of funds is just a temporary glitch in the matrix or some massive bank conspiracy trying to keep their billions hidden. Their mind is literally shielding them, protecting the delusion no matter what. Which brings us to Section 3, Behind the Curtain. Why does the brain do this? I want to shift our tone to a more grounded, scientific explanation for a second. It is absolutely crucial to understand that these majestic, sweeping realities are not a choice. A person doesn't just wake up and decide to be arrogant or overly self-important. These delusions are serious symptoms of underlying medical conditions. There are three primary root causes we're looking at here. First, bipolar disorder. During an extreme manic phase, a person's energy and self-confidence can skyrocket so intensely that it actually breaks the boundary of reality, swelling right into a grandiose delusion. Next is schizophrenia, which is a condition that fundamentally alters how a person processes information, leading the brain to create these complex, entirely false belief systems. And finally, physical brain changes, things like dementia, severe stress, or other physical ailments. These can literally scramble the intricate circuits of the brain that separate fact from fiction. So remember, it's a matter of chemistry and neurology, not character. So the crucial point is section 4, stepping into their reality, the empathy shift. Now that we understand the mechanics and the medical reasons behind why a mind rewrites reality, we have to look at the human element. How should we, as friends, family members, or just a compassionate society, interact with folks experiencing this? This comparison is vital. On one side, you have arguing and harsh correction. Now, to the outside world, someone with a delusion of grandeur can seem super frustrating or arrogant. But remember, their greatness is an undeniable fact to them. Arguing with them or bluntly telling them they are wrong, it's completely ineffective. It literally just makes them feel profoundly lonely, attacked, and misunderstood. On the flip side, we have empathy and understanding. When we realize they're trapped inside a different reality, we can approach them with a warm, compassionate heart, prioritizing their emotional safety over winning some argument about the facts. I want to wrap up our explainer today with this incredibly powerful quote from our source text. They are simply navigating a world crafted by a mind that has, for whatever reason, decided to rewrite the rules of reality. It completely reframes how we view this mental health challenge, doesn't it? They are the star of a show they didn't even ask to be cast in. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. If someone's mind has completely rewritten the very laws of gravity and reality, how much more profound and expansive must our empathy be to reach them exactly where they are? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this. Keep learning, keep seeking to understand, and I'll see you in the next explainer.